Georgia, Alabama. Sports Live will be your go-to for all your favorite high school and collegiate games this fall. From the Carver Tigers to the Columbus Blue Devils, the Harris County Tigers and Northside Patriots, the Glenwood Gators and Calvary Christian Knights, the Pacelli Vikings and Brookstone Cougars, to the Smith Station Panthers and Russell County Warriors, from CVCC, Pirates basketball and baseball, and every tournament from here to Macon. We are the #1 destination for anything happening in East Alabama and West Central Georgia. Be sure to like and follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and stay tuned for even more amazing ways we will be bringing Georgia, Alabama Sports Live to you this upcoming season. We can't wait to come see you next. What's going on, everyone? Welcome in to another edition of the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thrift, Barringer, Richard Holdridge will be joining me shortly. We had a busy night tonight. We both expected to be done a lot sooner than we were. I just got off the call of calling Northside Harris County. Great game. Northside was leading 2-0 heading into the fifth. A 5-run fifth inning. Harris County ended up winning 5-3. But there's a 3-game series. Tomorrow's at Harris County. We'll get it on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And then back at Northside on Friday. Richard was at Carver Spencer for that baseball game. Spencer and it went up winning that one 17-2. They did have to finish a game they had played earlier this year, but they weren't able to finish it because of the lights. They finished it at Spencer today. So Carver ended up finishing that game with a win. And then Spencer won the second game, in which we got on Georgia Alabama Sports Live 17-2. We are presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC, Gordy Eye Care, and of course, Buffalo Rock Pepsi. We got a great lineup for you here today on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and I'm excited about it. I got him coming out late at night. I know he is a super busy man. He is in charge of athletics in Muskogee County. Jeff Battles will be joining us here in just literally one moment. And then I'm going to have on Tyler Redmond. He's coming from the Masters. So we're going to talk about who his Masters favorites are. The Clingstones getting a win yesterday. And then, of course, the Bravos in their slow start. And we're going to wrap it up with Greg Mathis, who's the head coach at Brookstone and has his team right in the mix to maybe go back-to-back in the GIAA. All right, without further ado, I'm going to bring on the Citywide Athletics Director of Muskogee County, Jeff Battles, to the program. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us here late tonight.
Great to be here, Thrift. Thanks for having me.
All right, Jeff, the reason I wanted to have you on because you are starting elementary flag football. It's like you got the flag football starting all the way at the baby heads. Talk about why'd you want to do this and infiltrate it in the elementary school system, man.
Well, you know, as most people know, Thrift, we were one of the front runners getting out with flag football, girls flag football in the state of Georgia. We were part of the pilot program that the Atlanta Falcons and the GHSA put together. Muskogee County School District was several years ago. We were having some success for 2 or 3 years, and then we decided, you know, let's start getting these young ladies prepared for when they get to high school. So right. we started at the middle school level. There were a few people who doubted, you know, can this be successful? I made sure they understood that once you start, you're going to have to start cutting. You're going to have to start limiting how many you can have because you can only play so many young ladies at once. And that's what happened. It's been a tremendous success at the middle school level. Actually, next year, flag will move to the fall in the middle school, and it will be a championship sport. So they will have a champion next year. It was on a progression to grow it slowly instead of just throwing it out there all at one time. So we've grown it slowly, and next year we'll be able to have a championship sport for them. So that's a great thing for those young ladies. And then last year, I'm sitting in the conversation with the superintendent, and we're bouncing ideas off each other about how to continue to grow. And Dr. Lewis said, "Hey, when are we going to start this thing at the elementary level?" And we did, and it was a great experience for those young ladies. We encourage our school. This year we have 17 elementary schools participating in flag football.
Wow!
So we're going to end up having somewhere around 250 young ladies on Friday night come out and play the game. It's set up a little bit different than middle school and high school. It's almost like a 7-on-7 field for football. It's a 40-yard in, not a full size field. So we're excited about that. It's going to be Friday night, this Friday, the 11th. We'll have 3 games going on at we'll have 2 fields going on at Connett Stadium, and so we got 6 or 7 schools going to be there, and then we'll have 10 schools down at Otis Spencer playing on 3 different fields. We start at 5:30. We're just really excited to give these young ladies a chance. When we talk to our elementaries, we say we really want to try to push it to the 4th and 5th grade girls because they're the ones getting ready to go to middle school. And so it's just introduction so that when they get to middle school, they've seen it, they've maybe interacted with it a little bit and know the basic fundamentals, and then they're, ready to learn more about the game.
No doubt, Jeff. And what age group does it start for the elementary kids, for the girls?
We shoot for 4th grade and 5th grade. So say 10 and 11 is mainly where we're shooting for right there.
Awesome, man. And I cannot wait for this. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing all them on the field. The parents are going to be out in full support. So I fully expect a lot of people to be there. So I can't wait for that, Jeff. So now that is middle school flag football ended, is that pretty much put a bow on the season, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, middle school flag football's over. We wrapped it up a few weeks ago. In our middle school league, we try not to overlap our sports too much. We try to give the students the opportunity to play as many things as possible. So, our goal is to, get them exposure in different sports and activities. And then, when they get a little older, when they get to high school and they got to start focusing on 1 or 2 things, they've had experience and they know what they like to do. So, we wrapped up flag football. We started track. So we're in the middle of, I just got home from a middle school track meet just a few minutes ago. So we're in the middle of middle school track season, and it's going really well right now.
Jeff, now that you've mentioned track, I do want to transition. Is there any more track meets coming up for high school? Do you plan on are we going to be able to host maybe some playoff meets too later on down the line? What's happening with that?
So we are Saturday the 12th. This Saturday is the Muskogee County School District City Championship.
Awesome.
So we'll have all 8 Muskogee County schools there competing against one another to take home that trophy at the end. We'll also be recognizing the high point winner for the girls and the boys, and we'll be giving individual medals for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place throughout the day. We start at 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock in the morning with our field events. And we'll do 2 sessions of field events in the morning. At 12 noon, we're going to do a senior recognition. So all of our seniors from all the schools, we're going to recognize every one of them, and we're going to line them up and give them a little treat on the track, and
awesome.
Just take a few minutes to just recognize them for all their hard work and dedication to the schools and Muskogee County School District. And then at 12:15, we're going to fire the gun and start running the 100 hurdles and get going.
Well, Jeff, I can't wait. I'm going to make an appearance there in the morning to kind of cover it and promote people to come out. On Saturday, we got the city championships, and also I love when you're recognizing seniors and their hard work for all what they do around the area. Now, Jeff, in Muskogee County for baseball, we just had Columbus and Jordan face off yesterday. We were able to get that great game. Columbus ended up winning. They take on basically Shaw for a region championship this Friday. So I'm excited about that. Hardaway right there on the mix, too, to make the playoffs. So Hardaway, Jordan, Columbus, and Shaw all representing really well. I know you got to be excited about how baseball season's playing out because I think we could have some teams making deep playoff runs.
We can. And let me tell you, Thrift, I'm going to just throw this in there. I was having this conversation today with the whole power ranking thing. You can now get a fifth team in the playoffs if they fall in the right space. With that win today, Spencer has a chance of sneaking in that fifth playoff spot. There's a chance that they do that. They were kind of on the verge today, but yeah, Friday's going to be a big game. Columbus and Shaw. It's at Columbus High School. The winner is the de facto. They'll be in the lead. They'll be in the driver's seat for the region championship.
Right.
So everything it is leading up to a big game on Friday night.
We also got Jordan Shaw soccer. Columbus, great job for their boys and girls. They're in the lead right now. Northside boys and girls, I don't know if anybody knows this, but they're having great seasons too in soccer. So it's like every single sport, we're always having competitiveness. And I didn't mention Northside because they're not in the two-way classification.
That's
they're
right.
in the 4A. They were number one in their region before tonight's loss against Harris County. Still got 2 more games. And how about Tracy Powell, which you know very well, Jeff, came from Hardaway, legendary coach there, and now in year 1 has Northside, I think, as the most improved team in our area.
Tracy Powell, actually, Coach Powell was one of my football coaches in high school at Harris County High School.
Oh, wow.
So I've known Coach Powell for a very long time. He's done a phenomenal job over there. They've done a great job getting those young men ready and getting prepared for day in and day out. And as you know, Thrift, that is a super tough region they are in. I mean, it is a tough stretch in every sport. And for them to be doing as well as they are in baseball is really the tribute to how hard those kids work and how hard those coaches work.
Well, Jeff, I'm not going to hold you too much longer, but I did want to ask one more question about what your ADs have to do in the summertime, man, because many people think that, hey, listen, the school year's about to wrap up. I know you got to be excited. For athletic directors, I feel like it is not even close to the end. They're just now restarting for next year. So kind of talk, because I know y'all have a lot of meetings and game planning, and I feel like there's no days off for you guys, man.
Well, the one thing that the GHSA does right is dead week. And for those who might not know, the Georgia High School Association makes 2 dead weeks. One's basically the week of Memorial Day, and one's the week of 4th of July.
Awesome.
And in those dead weeks, coaches are not allowed to interact with athletes. And so you'll see a lot of times that's when, coaches and ADs try to take their vacations. But outside of those 2 weeks, Thrift, we're getting after it. Some people think ADs don't do a whole lot in the summer, but you got to think most of us got one weight room, most of us got one gym, and you have football, baseball, basketball, girls and boys, softball, volleyball. You got several schools got their soccer and wrestling teams. They're trying to get into the weight room. They're trying to get time in the gym. They're trying to get time on the mat. So it's a lot of juggling for an AD to make sure they keep those schedules intact and keep everybody, where they're supposed to be as far as their schedule goes. And honestly, the summer's where a lot of our paperwork gets done. We have to go through every physical that we have, and we have to, go through and make sure that we got the right ones for the following year. And if you don't have one, we got to contact those families and remind them to get a new one. You're introducing the freshmen that are coming to your school. So you're doing freshman introductions and camps and things of that nature with them. You're monitoring your team still, making sure all that's going on. You're going to have some kids who have to go to summer school just to make up some credits. And your job as the AD to make sure they're on top of that because you got to get eligibility ready to go at the end of July. So it is a lot to do. You don't go to and supervise as many games. So it's a little downtime from that sense. But as far as work, you're putting in work every day.
Well, Jay, You can see Jeff tomorrow on the Sports Vision Morning Show, 7 o'clock, to talk about all these things and more. Thank you so much, Jeff, and I'll talk to you later, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
That is Jeff Battles, the citywide Muskogee County Athletic Director, coming on here late tonight. Did not have to do that, and that's a great man. I'm going to take a quick break, come back. Bree and Richard are going to talk to Tyler Redmond. I'm only going to get him for a few minutes, but it's still a few good minutes here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Even though I'm away at college, Kinetic Credit Union is still the best way for me to stay connected here and at home. With the Kinetic mobile app, I have control of my accounts wherever I go. I can easily transfer money between internal and external accounts, get money faster by setting up recurring transfers, and I can find the nearest ATM or branch right from my phone. Plus, I can add my Kinetic cards to my phone's digital wallet and enjoy quick, secure, contactless payments. By the way, Mom, I need some more money.
Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
Mom, I need some more money. Of course you do. It's Thrift, it's Rich here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And now we're going to bring him on real quickly. He is actually driving on the road, so you're not going to be able to see him, but it's okay. His name is Tyler Redmond. T-Red, what's up, man?
How's it going, guys? How are y'all?
I'm excellent. Sorry to keep you waiting, man. I know you're going to have to go here in just a moment, so I want to quickly go ahead and get into it, man. First off, how was the Masters experience? And go ahead and give me your favorites as we head in tomorrow. It's already starting.
Well, in terms of the experience, it seemed like it was shorter than normal. Of course, Monday was a atypical washout. This was my third trip, third consecutive year going for the practice rounds, and I've never seen it rained out. Never seen that, but you know, I will give the credit where it's due. Augusta National did everything in their power to make it safe for everybody. You hate to see cases of people not, being able to go. Andrew Caraway, I feel for him. Of course, with Callaway football, we spoke to him. He was unfortunately sent home, as were many. But in terms of the latter 2 days, it was back to normal. The weather was great. It wasn't hot. My face will say otherwise. I am very red right now, but it was not hot. It was sunny, but not hot, and it felt great. Me and Jack got a lot done. The thing I'm most excited about, and I've always wanted to do this, and I finally got to. I've spoken with him before, but Larry Mize, I got to do an interview with him on the course. So I got to interview a Masters champion at the Masters.
Awesome.
And I don't know how many people have done that, but I'm glad to be added to that list. And Larry was great per usual. In terms of my favorites, it's hard not to look at Rory McIlroy. Everybody's wondering, will this finally be the year? Hard not to look at the defending champion and Scotty Scheffler, or the 2023 champion and John Rahm. I'm going to throw a dark horse, and it's a local guy, Russell Henley, who has recently really upped his game. Top 10 in the world. That doesn't happen very often, and he could very well be playing some of his best golf right now. He also did finish 4th last year. Say that again. Or 2 years ago. Excuse me.
2 years
Jack
ago.
corrected me.
I hear Jack in the background. Hey, Jack.
Yeah.
JP.
So, he's experienced. He knows the course. Maybe luck goes his way. Maybe the ball bounces the right way, whatever the case may be. But you have to look at him. So those would probably be my favorites. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out, but it's a really deep field. I mean, it really is. Scheffler spoke about that, just how deep the field really is. And I mean, really, it's loaded with talent. Jordan Spieth feels like an afterthought. We heard from him today. He's coming off of injury. The timetable for him was April 2025. It is April 2025. You never know. The sun shines on some people some days, and people get lucky. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be an exciting weekend. Can't wait to watch it. But yeah, I would. It's hard not for me to not go with Scotty Scheffler. If I had to give you one, it's hard to not go with him. He's just been so dominant lately. But in terms of the local focus, I'm not betting against Russell Henley either.
Tyler, let's go ahead and go to the Bravos. Okay. Got a big win last night against the Phillies. I'll always love having you on to just calm the masses, man, because, it's wide panic all the time when it comes to the Bravos. I've never seen a fan base. I don't think there's one that's worse, man, about overreacting to everything. What is your thought
I
with
don't
the
know
Braves?
about that. I've seen some Reds fans that were pretty brutal after one loss to start the year. Any fan base has got them. Philly certainly has them.
Yeah, exactly.
So any fan base has them. We have them too. And look, I mean, if there's ever a time to panic, 0-7 is probably that time. That does not feel good. It is not a good way to start the year. Nobody expected that. The Braves made flurries of moves to try to aid the team and steadying the ship. In terms of the way I feel about it, it's this. We started on the West Coast against two juggernauts in terms of team build-up and also payroll. You knew it wasn't going to go great, more than likely, just because of that. That said, nobody thought it was going to go 0-7 to start the year. I don't think anybody thought that. And really, it shouldn't have. There were winnable games. How often does a pitcher come in and not record an out and have an infinity ERA to start the year like Hector Neris did? It doesn't happen very often. And that's how he started. He has since been DFA'd. Jesse Chavez has since been signed. Sean Murphy has returned from injury. Drake Baldwin has really made a name for himself. So you have a lot of good going. I definitely think that, you're still anticipating the return, obviously, of Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna. That is the one thing that you feel like would really turn this ship around. But I don't think it's the solution to all the problems that everybody thinks it is. I still think the bullpen has a big question mark around it. And I don't want to get into too much detail, but, the Braves are trying to save money. There's reasons for that. It's not because they're cheap. It's because, logistically speaking, it makes the most sense for long-term success. And they saved a lot of money, and a lot of the money they saved was in the bullpen department. A.J. Minter did not re-sign to the Braves, did not receive an offer from the Braves, I don't believe.
No.
He's making $11 million this year for a division rival. And the Braves didn't want to pay that for a guy that could really steady the late innings on any given night and has proven that time in, time out. So that just tells you they're trying to save money. They want to get below that luxury tax, whether they say it or not. In my opinion, there's no other reason for not going after more bullpen pieces unless they just didn't feel like there were bullpen pieces worth going for the prices they were at. To be fair to him, Jeff Hoffman, the Braves made a deal to, but he didn't pass physical. So there's a lot to look at there. I think if there's any room to improve at the deadline, it's going to be that bullpen.
Tyler, we are less than a week away from the home opener for the Columbus Cleanstones, which, by the way, lost to Biloxi earlier this afternoon. Blake Burkhalter with 6 innings, gave up 2 runs. What is that atmosphere going to be like at Synovus Park? I know that we're anticipating I think it's going to be a packed crowd. I think that the who's who of Columbus is going to be there at Synovus Park. It's going to be not only the seats full, but that first base line and third base line with the picnic tables. You're just going to have families engaged out and about. It's really going to be a social event, and I think the city of Columbus is going to come out.
I think it's going to be the first time in a long time we have seen what used to be Golden Park be what it is intended to be. I think it's going to be the first time we have seen it in the professional capacity that we always knew it could be again. And I am so proud to be able to cover that, to be able to be here and see it. Growing up, going to Golden Park back in the day, I found a picture of me the other day. I took a picture with the mascot of the Catfish, Hook. I raced him around the bases when I was 7, and he came to my birthday party when I was 5. I have a long history of going to those games. I am anticipating a great season. I was at the road opener in Montgomery last week, and I'll be honest with you, the game didn't go in the Clingstones' way, but there were a lot of firsts. Obviously the first strikeout for Drew Hackenberg, the first homer for David McCabe. There were some firsts for the team, but nothing is going to be like the first home game. and WRBL is going out full force for that. And we're of course all looking forward to it. I'm certainly looking forward to it. I think the team, is not to say secondary that night. Obviously, the team is important, but I think the fact that baseball is back in that park and back in the city is going to be the first priority for everybody. Just to be able to come together as a community and watch some great professional baseball, not to mention the Atlanta Braves minor league system at work is going to be really special.
Tyler, thank you so much for joining us. Get back here safely, you and Jack. Look forward to seeing you this weekend, man. Thank you again, as always.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Tyler.
That is Tyler Redmond. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, me and Rich are going to talk to the man himself. It's the man, the myth, the legend. He's got a state trying to get another one. I know I can't sing, but this guy can coach baseball. We're talking to Greg Mathis next here on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show.
Hi, my name is.
You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, my name is Griff Gordy, and here at Gordy Eye Care, we have been serving the Bi-City community for 17 years. As a former state championship quarterback, I love the fact that I can watch local high school athletics from the comfort of my own home. So it was a no-brainer to support Georgia Alabama Sports Live and what they do for young athletes in our area.
And without business like yourself, Gordy Eye Care, none of our coverage would be possible. To be able to cover these 16 different high schools, the local colleges, and professional teams. So we'd like to say thank you to you, Dr. Griff Gordy and Gordy Eye Care, for your support of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And then you can make an appointment today at Gordy Eye Care with the number 334-291-5125. Keep supporting Gordy Eye Care and keep watching Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Welcome back here to Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thrift Barringer, Richard Holdridge. Richard, I was telling everyone I came in really hot, so really didn't get to talk about the fact that Northside lost to Harris County in a game one of a huge series. So they got game 2 tomorrow at Harris County, game 3 on Friday. At Northside was leading 2-0. Sam Laney was pitching at Jim. He ended up giving up 5 runs in the 5th off 4 hits, and they lost 5-3. Great game on the mound by JT Perkle. And then coming in relief was Jacob Eber. And that Harris County roster, man, is full of freshmen, couple of seniors, sophomores, juniors. Tony Dimitri's got a squad.
Yes, he does.
But, man, it was a lot of fun, a lot of fireworks. I'm expecting great things tomorrow at the county. Rick Beach will be on the call. Richard, I know you had Spencer, and Jeff Bowles has made mention with them winning and winning big. Spencer has a chance to potentially make the playoffs this year. We get 5 teams from that region. Real quickly recap that, Richard, because we got our guests waiting.
Yeah, they're right now ranked like 36, so they do have an outside shot to make the playoffs. But they got some games. They host Kendrick on Friday. They need to win that game. But they rattle off wins. Spencer could sneak into the playoffs. Now, Carver did win that first game. What happened was the Carver-Spencer game at Carver ended in a 5-5 tie. And because they can't have ties in region play, they turned around and played the last 2 innings. Carver won that. TJ Woodson pitched 2 scoreless innings. He had a double and an RBI. And then Spencer they took advantage of just the walks and the wild pitches. They put up 11 runs in that first inning, and they hold on to defeat Carver 17-2 in 4 innings. To take sole possession of 5th place. So they're on the outskirts. And then I was actually down at Spencer, and that's why I was coming in hot, because I went straight from there back to the house to be on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show.
And without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him on. He's the head coach of the Brookstone Cougars. Joining us for one of many times, it is Greg Mathis. Coach, what's up, man?
How you guys doing?
Excellent, man. I know we're not doing as good as you, dude. Every time I see you, you're smiling ear to ear. It looks like you're having the best time of your life. You got a great staff on you. How's it been in year number 3 leading the Cougars, man?
Well, it's been great. I mean, we already had a really good staff, and then, of course, I added Coach Howard to the staff, which is, that's an incredible addition to get him. He's just got so much knowledge, and the kids love him. And, it's been good. The main thing, we've had a couple of, minor injuries. I said last year we didn't have anybody get hurt, and then that's over the course of a 30-something game season. You can't afford to get anybody hurt, especially in small school baseball.
Right.
You just don't have the depth. And we've come through pretty good. Maxwell Jones tweaked a hamstring down in Florida. When we went down there, he legged out a hit and pulled up, but he's going to be okay by the end of the week. We're just kind of bringing him along slow. I don't know if he'll play tomorrow. Tomorrow we got Westfield, which is a big series. They're very talented team. Got a lot of good players, and we're going down there for the first 2 games, doubleheader. So it's always tough to play in Perry, but we're going to go down there and see what happens. Hopefully we can keep pitching it. We've been pitching it really well, and hopefully we can keep that up,
Yeah. Richard?
Coach, do you feel obviously the game got moved to Friday that was supposed to be played out on Tuesday. Do you think that you're going to use that to your advantage to help rest your starting pitching? Or were you going to throw whoever was going to pitch in Tuesday on Friday now, or are you going to try to save your arms for this road trip against Westfield tomorrow?
I'm always going to throw, in that sequence. I like starting Shinu in the first game. I'm not real big on this. Let's try to out-strategize and let's save him for here, because I've seen that backfire so many times. I'm more of a, let's go ahead and try to send a message and get that first win and then see what goes from there, because you never know what's going to happen with the weather. It's liable to, I was looking at the forecast. It might rain a little bit Friday. So, it'd be crazy to go up there and lose a game and not throw Shinu or Brendan Neal, trying to save them for Friday, and then we turn around and get rained out, So we'll go with our regular rotation. I can't say enough about Shinu. He's just been unbelievable this year. I mean,
yes.
I know numbers don't mean everything, but this guy's got video game numbers on. His ERA. He's 7-1. The thing is, we haven't ever thrown him more than, I think, 85 pitches in a game.
Wow.
And he's had 9 appearances. I think he's 7-1 with 1 save, and he hasn't thrown more than 85 pitches in a game. And you can throw 110, and a lot of guys are at this stage. So hopefully he'll be. And we've done that with all our pitchers. Our pitchers are averaging about 70 pitches a game, and we have the luxury of we can throw Shinu 80 pitches and then turn around and bring Brendan Neal in to close the door and keep it under 35, because he usually comes in and gets it done in under 35 pitches. So
great.
You've called our games,
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. It's been an honor to be able to be on the call for all your games this year, man, and looking forward to doing the playoff games. But I want to talk more about Chanu Kim, who me and Richard have said on the broadcast, between him and Tyler Sykes out of Glenwood, I don't know many better pitchers than them two, and I think they're the best 2 in the area. And I'm leaning more towards Kim this year being the number 1. 0.51 ERA. He's been almost unhittable. Aside from that Central game, I don't see many blemishes in his game, and we've called many of them. What makes him so unique and so special for your team, Coach?
Well, what a lot of people don't see with Shinu is, he's the hardest working guy in the building. He wanted to get more velocity, and he wanted to have his curveball have better bite to it. So he knew he had to get stronger. Mm-hmm. And the guy, just during the whole off season, he put on almost 15 pounds. And
wow.
It's in his legs. And it's if you've seen him walking around, his uniform fits him a lot better. He's just more physical. And we've even let him hit. He worked and got strong so that he could swing the bat. And he's actually become a really good surprise for us down in the bottom of the lineup. He's had some big hits for us down there.
Yep.
And, we just, and like I said, he's just a hard-working kid. He's a great kid to be around. I know there's he's got a couple of offers from some smaller schools. And, but, just like Sykes over there at Glenwood, these guys just know how to pitch. I mean, you can sit there and say this guy throws 95 miles an hour and this guy can throw 98. But can they pitch? Do they know how to pitch? And Tyler Sykes the same way. I mean, that guy has 3 pitches. He'll keep you off balance. And you're sitting there in the on-deck circle, same thing with Shiner. You're thinking, man, I'm going to hit this guy. Next thing you know, he's got you popping up, or he's got you hitting a ground ball, or he's running that thing in on your hands, striking you out. So both of those guys have been phenomenal. And, Glenwood's having another outstanding season. I mean, Tim's a real good buddy of mine. And I wish them all the luck. And I think they got a real good chance. I like it because this thing has evolved. You see it. You guys keep up with all of it. Major League Baseball, it's trickled down. You watch college games. You watch SEC. This thing is all about pitching right now. It is a arms race to see who can get the pitchers. And I watched you guys on the Harris County Northside game, and it just boiled down to that one inning. I mean, Laney was throwing the crap out of the ball.
He was. All of
a sudden, that one inning, they put up a 5 spot. And then, of course, you got to give Harris County credit. They were able to come in there with their pitchers and close the door. Northside had chances. Northside had some chances there, but that's going to be a great series. That's going to be a really good series the rest of this week. So,
speaking of series, before Richard, I know you want to talk about Mercer Hudson and some of the other key players, but I do want to, because you allowed me to have a great transition there. You got a big one coming up against Calvary here next week, man. I'm excited about it. I know Steve Smith's excited about it. And, obviously, if you look at Calvary's record, you would think they're having a down year, but they played an extremely tough schedule, Coach. And I know you're not taking them lightly at all. How excited are you about obviously getting through Westfield, but that potential matchup with Calvary that could be a battle for first place next week?
Yeah, we got to get through Westfield first. We can't let them slip. We can't slip up. And if we can do what we're supposed to do against Westfield, I mean, that puts us in a really good position. And we always enjoy playing Calvary. I mean, it's a good rivalry. It's you got the triangle there of Calvary, Brookstone, and Pacelli, and our kids. It's cliche-ish to say that you throw the records out, but when we line up against Calvary and Pacelli, it really doesn't matter. Our kids play differently. The atmosphere is different, and but it's fun. It's fun to play because we're all 3 of us are going to probably end up making the playoffs.
Yep.
And the next time we would probably see each other after we get out of region play would be down at Park, which would be even more fun playing the finals against either Calvary or Pacelli at Golden Park. So, I call it Golden Park. That tells my age.
I still call it Golden Park.
Yeah, we can still call it Golden Park.
But it's Coach Smith ain't fooling me. He's played a tough schedule. It ain't like he's played Mother Mary Mission or anybody. I mean, this guy's been playing some nationally ranked teams. So, but, he does that, and we all try to do it because we're a little bit handcuffed in that we have so many region games. We got 5 region teams, so automatically, that takes 12 games.
15.
Yeah, 15 games off our schedule that we have to play those games. So, and then, you want to try to play your other teams in the GIAA that you built relationships with. We missed out on the Glenwood tournament this year because
we did.
When me and Tim were talking about it, at that time, Alabama High School was not allowing them to play private schools. So everybody's doing their schedules real early. And I told Tim we wanted to get in the tournament. He said, well, I can't play you. So then all of a sudden I went and got in the Tifton tournament, and we went down to Tifton and played Tift area. And I can't even remember who else we played. Terrell. We played Terrell. It was last year's AAA champion. So we felt like we were getting some good games in, but it just didn't work out this year. I mean, and then Tim called me back and said, hey, we just found out we can play private schools now. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't, get out of that tournament. And I can't play but 30 games. So it just didn't work out. But, I mean, we're going to get back with playing Glenwood again next year.
I can't wait.
That was just a script on Alabama High School right there. They said one thing and then they backed out of it. But by that time, we already had our schedule filled. So because that would have been a really quality team to play to get us ready for our state playoffs.
Yeah, Coach, while you're at it, I would love for you to get to see Harris County and Northside too.
We played Tracy and them in the scrimmage game, but like I said, we already full up, and we just, sometimes you just can't work it out with your schedule. Like I said, especially when half your games are already dictated by your association. Right. So.
Well, Coach, I do want to talk about last year's team compared to this year's team, because last year you won the championship. You had great players like Taft Middleton, Madden Dismuke, Cole Stanzel, and this year it seems like you just did not skip a beat. I mean, Mercer Hudson, top of your order. He's got 2 home runs on the season. He's just a perfect 5-tool player, just that leadoff hitter with power. You have Brendan Neal, who's just been patrolling shortstop, likes to steal bases. You have the Jones brothers. I know they're not related, but Maxwell Jones and Gray Jones have been fantastic. They had like 9 RBIs in one game. I don't know if they're brothers or not. Are they brothers?
Not.
They're not. That's what I figured. No, but what makes this team brothers special? Like this group of players that you have this year.
Well, it's just the I don't want to overuse the word, but what we've tried to do in 3 years is create a culture. You hear that word in every sport. You got this culture, and we've just tried to create that culture. Now, last year we had great leadership out of Taft Middleton and those guys. They were hard-nosed guys, and these guys just they saw what they were doing, and they just did the same thing. They hit the weight room. They're always in the cage. These guys worked their butt off, and Mercer. I mean, Mercer's just been a special player for us. He's played. Him and Maxwell have played since they were freshmen. They started as freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
And Mercer's been All-State the last 2 years in a row. First team All-State as a sophomore. But then you're never going to go far unless everybody's going to have some stars. Every team's got some stars. If you go to First Presbyterian, you guys saw their shortstop, Keon Johnson.
He's phenomenal.
That guy's a legit star. Calvary's got their guys. Pacelli's got their main guys. But the guys that's going to really, when you think about it, when it comes down to crunch time, you're going to have your Charles Briscoes, your Will Turners last year. Think about Will Turner in the final. Yep. 3 hits, turns a double play to end the game. And then, your Shanu Kims and guys like that are stepping up. We've got – I was looking at the stats. I'm not a big stat guy. But I think on-base percentage is a bigger thing than batting average. Sometimes batting average can be overrated. But are you getting on base and are you knocking in runs is my big thing. But I was looking at our thing. We've got like 6 guys that have that have double-digit RBIs. And to me, that's the biggest thing. Last year we had some guys, but it was kind of, man, if Taft didn't do it or if Stancil didn't do it, there was nobody really in the bottom of the lineup. But these guys they've bought into what we're doing. We get a runner on third. They're trying to hit it. They don't care if they hit a ground ball to second, as long as that run gets in. They're not worried about their batting average. And I just think, like I said, you get those guys that have, Briscoe's 3-year starter, Turner's a 3-year starter, Shanu Kim's pitched for us for 3 years. So you take them, of course, Mercer Hudson special, Maxwell Jones. So there's your 5 guys. And now you throw in these other guys Gray Jones. That guy's been waiting to play on that team last year. He's paid his dues, and now he's batting .430.
Yeah. Leading your team in batting average.
And it's great. And he plays behind Mercer Hudson. And when Mercer got dinged up, he just jumped right in there and started catching. And Richard, you called our games. That guy is a great catcher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can be catching. I think he can go somewhere to college as a catcher. But you wait your turn, and then when your time comes, you got to produce. And that's what we've had. We've had some guys that have been real patient. In today's society, mostly in college, if you don't get what you want, you're ready to go in the transfer portal. And that even trickles down to high school. You got kids now, they think that, I go over here and I don't get to play quarterback. I'm going across the river, or I'm going to this other school. And there's something to be said for these guys like Gray Jones and Harrison Baker. Harrison Baker had a big home run for us in the game earlier in the year. And, these guys have been waiting around their turn, and, we knew Brendan Neal was going to step in and be our shortstop this year. That was a given. But, we're always just trying to piece things together. And then, our JV team's been having a pretty good season. And I just came back. I was talking to you about the time to be on. I was at a middle school game. So our middle school is doing really well. So, and it's just last year created an excitement that hasn't been around here before, and people want to be a part of the baseball program. We got Chapman Dykes played the other day at first base. We had it when Maxwell went down. Chapman Dykes, who has not played baseball in 3 years because he wanted to focus on basketball, and after we won, he came up and he told me, "Coach, I want to be part of. I know I haven't played. I want to be part, and maybe I can in some way help y'all." Well, Maxwell goes down, so we're having to move some people around. And Chapman's been working hard in practice, and boom, he goes over there. You got a 6'5" first baseman now who's athletic from basketball and moves around and makes a couple of plays over there at first down in Florida. So, and he would have never came out except that we had that success last year, and he wanted to be part of something with his guys, that we're in a small school, everybody's close, and he wanted to be with his friends. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's out there in the game, and he played a flawless first base for us. So
that's awesome, Coach.
But he wouldn't have been there, like I said, if we wouldn't have had success last year. He would, but everybody wants to be part of it now. So, everybody can't be Madden Dismukes. Either Madden Dismukes took 3 years off and then comes out there and, hits 450 with what I think he had 8 RBIs in one game or something. But we want all our guys I always encourage them to play every sport. I think there's something to be gained from every sport. I played them all in high school, and I just think there's transferable things. I'm a big football guy. I love you guys see me at basketball. I love basketball.
Yes, you do.
I just like guys to be athletes, and then we can teach them a little bit about baseball.
His name is Greg.
Most guys you see in MLB, NBA, or and that's not to say everybody's going to make it, or the NFL, MLB. They did not just play one sport in high school.
They're multi-sport.
Like you sit there and you hear, well, this guy's a quarterback, but he was also a possible draft pick as a pitcher. So I encourage our guys to play everything, and a lot of them are starting to do it. So.
His name is Greg Mathis. He's got a team that is ranked number 2 according to GIAA rankings, right behind Tatnall Square. He's already got a state championship. Coach, we'll be there on Friday. We're going to get all 3 games next week against Calvary, and then we're going to also get you on senior night, and we'll be with you all the way through your playoff run heading into Synovus Park. So can't wait to see you, and you'll be joining us periodically, hopefully probably next week, Coach. We'll probably try to get you on once a week here on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thank you so much, Coach. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you guys for all you do. Coach. And hey, there's a lot of baseball left to be played, and there's a lot of big games coming up, and you guys are doing a great job. So I thank y'all. Thank
you.
All the support. All right?
Appreciate it, Coach.
Sure. Yep, and that is Coach Greg Mathis. I think he's got a team that's going to win back-to-back, man. That team
no question about it.
And there ain't nobody better that deserves a back-to-back state championship other than Greg Mathis. One more break, Richard, and we'll come back and wrap it up here on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show.
You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome to the Campus Academy Private School, where every student is celebrated for their individuality. With personalized curriculum, students unlock their potential, growing into confident learners. At the Campus Academy, we give teachers the freedom to create dynamic classrooms where every student's voice is heard. Discover the difference. Enroll your child today and watch them thrive.
Thank you, Rich. We're back here. We're going to wrap up what has been a fun day of Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. The Masters. I said, who's your favorite? I'm going to go on a limb. I'm saying Brooks Koepka. Give me Brooks Koepka.
A live golfer.
Yes, an LIV golfer who has not played great. He's got 5 championships. I think he gets number 6, and I think he goes on and has a phenomenal year in majors. Richard, who are you picking to put on the green jacket by Sunday?
I'm also going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Colin Morikawa.
Colin Morikawa. How about Rich coming with the Morikawa on Georgia, Alabama Sports Live? Tomorrow on the Sports Engine Morning Show, we got some incredible guests, including Rennie Curran, Jeff Battles, Sean Redwards, Jack Patterson, and, of course, Richard, I think you're going to be in studio all show. I think that's what we had planned. We'll see.
We'll see. That's a teaser for all the listeners out there that watch our show and listen to the Sports Visions Morning Show.
Tomorrow we have Northside Harris County baseball. We got CVCC softball and baseball. We got Central and Smith Station baseball tomorrow night, Richard. So we'll be doing double duty. We'll be calling both that and then going to call Central Smith Station. On Friday, we are going to have Glenwood Beulah doubleheader senior night, Harris County Northside at 6 p.m. and at 4:30, Brookstone Westfield. So 3 games on Friday, Calvary, Russell County on Saturday, Fountain City on Saturday, and back to the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show on Sunday. For the Alabama schools, regular season would then come to a close. Next week will be playoffs for Alabama schools. Also, next week's the final week of the regular season for the GHSA schools. And then the week after, 21 through the 25th, playoffs for Alabama, second round, first round of the playoffs for the GHSA, and the final week of the regular season for the GIAA schools like Calvary, Pacelli, and Brookstone. May 3rd is the last day for CVCC. So, Richard, we got about a month left, about 4 weeks of regular season ball with all the sports that we cover. We'll have some, obviously, some playoff stuff going in the mix as well. So, man, I cannot believe we're already almost done with the 2024-2025 year.
It's just hard to believe. I mean, we started this school year back in August. It really started in July with the state of the programs, and we went around to all these high schools that we cover just to talk about the athletics from the year before. And then we just hit the ground running with that first volleyball match on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, Pacelli and Shaw, all the way back on August the 9th. And now we are in April with a couple more weeks left in the baseball season, the soccer season. All the spring sports are wrapping up. And I'm really looking forward to the little bit of a break, but I know we still got work to do. You know, we still got Columbus United. We still got the Columbus Lions, and we've got Summer League in June, and then the state of the program in July. So, you know, we just keep grinding here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live because that's what we love to do.
Exactly right. And we got many stuff coming up tomorrow, so make sure to tune in. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. NBA season comes to an end on Sunday. We'll wrap up our NBA season awards and who we think is going to do what in the playoffs on Sunday. We start inside the GIAA back up next Wednesday as well. We got Lions next week. We got the Clingstones home opener. Man, a lot happening here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. The final thing I do want to say, Rich, is the Florida Gators proved me wrong, man. And this is my opinion to kind of wrap up the show. I think Auburn, Duke, Florida, Houston, you coin flipped. Any one of those teams could have won it all. You're telling me that Auburn team, who had a 9-point lead on Florida and needed a 34-point performance from Walter Clayton, couldn't have beat that Houston team? I think Auburn could have won the national title, so it's hard for them to swallow. I think also that was a tough one, especially for Duke, because they think they were the best team by far. And this was the most watched NCAA Final Four since 2019, in which we had games like this. Remember, Virginia, Auburn losing that heartbreaker. Michigan State, Texas Tech went down the wire. Texas Tech was up by multiple points on Virginia, and they had to hit that shot to even get in. That championship run by Virginia, in which they needed a buzzer beater to tie Purdue and win in overtime. They needed a phantom foul call at the end of the Auburn game to hit 3 free throws to win by 1 over Auburn, and he needed to hit a 3 almost at the buzzer to go into overtime against Texas Tech. That's 3 straight games. Kind of what Florida did. They barely got past UConn, barely got past Texas Tech. Auburn needed luck, and you saw what happened against Houston. Sometimes it may not be the best team. Sometimes it's just a team that's got the ball bouncing their way, and Florida did. Congratulations to them. An SEC team deserved to win it with the year that the SEC had, and they are your national champions, and looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next year. I thoroughly enjoyed this Final Four, and for all those haters out there saying, I wanted Cinderellas, yeah, right. Because if you did, you'd have watched it 2 years ago when we had Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, and it was atrocious. I'm talking about terrible numbers. Even last year's numbers were terrible. This year's up for the first time in 7 years. People want to see winners. They want to see the best team. They want to see the best players, and that is where Auburn's at. I can't believe Auburn made the mistakes they did in that Final Four, but hey, it happens, and Florida is your national champion. But I really feel for Houston, and specifically Emmanuel Sharp, who had not one but 2 turnovers at the end of the game and didn't even get a shot off to beat Florida in the national championship. Quick thoughts on that, Richard, before we get out of here.
Yeah, that's really the worst way to lose. You don't even get a shot off, and I know that Houston has really got to be hurting, especially after being up big. And what Kelvin Sampson has done, getting them to a Final Four, 4 straight 30-win seasons, 3 straight #1 seeds. I tell you, I hats off to the Houston Cougars. I think that they'll be back. You got to give credit to Florida. 3rd national championship. First time since they went back-to-back in 06 and 07 with Billy Donovan. And like I mentioned on the Sports Vintage Morning Show, Florida's been the standard when it comes to all-around athletics. 3 football championships, 3 basketball championships. They got a couple of College World Series titles. I think they got a gymnastics title in there somewhere. But when it comes to like all-around athletics, the Florida Gators really have been at the top, and they deserve it.
You brought it up too, Richard. I don't think, especially since 2000, there's not been a program that's won a basketball and a football championships, and not just that, but winning multiple. Yeah. It's been a long time. Florida, in the last 30 years, since 1996 to now, they have won 3 basketball championships and 3 football championships. They've been, incredible. And then also won a baseball national championship too. Come on, man. They probably have a national championship in almost every sport. Well, thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you to our sponsors. And you're going to see me, Rich, tomorrow morning. And then we'll be at CVCC. And we'll wrap it up with Smith Station Central here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Thank you for watching the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. You're ready to smile.